Questions remain over the water crisis in Baltimore City. Fox 45 News demands answers from the mayor over the communication breakdown with the public. Plus, are residents losing trust in the city's messaging? Fox 45 News investigates. Then, the Ravens failed to reach a contract agreement with Lamar Jackson. What the team's GM had to say about the negotiations and the outlook for the season.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 4.
We begin this afternoon with breaking news. I'm Kai Jackson.
And I'm Maxine Stryker. The Cecil County Sheriff's Office says deputies found 5 people dead inside a home in the normally quiet community of Elk Mills just after 9:15 this morning, suggesting tonight that all evidence could point to murder-suicide.
Rebecca Pryor joins us live from Cecil County with the very latest on this tragedy. Rebecca.
Well, police are holding off on revealing all of the details until relatives of this family can be notified, but they are confirming that 2 adult bodies and 3 children were found scattered throughout this Elk Hills home at around 9:30 this morning. One body was located in the garage, the others in various locations on the 1st and 2nd floor. The children were allegedly homeschooled, currently in 5th, 7th, and 8th grade. Each of the victims appeared to have been gunned down with a semi-automatic handgun. That handgun was found beside the father when police arrived. Police also believe the father made the 911 call, reporting his wife and 3 children shot and killed. Dispatchers describing that call as short and showing no signs of distress. At this point, Cecil County Sheriff Scott Adams saying the only threat left to the community is heartbreak.
There's not a public safety concern as far as it going outside of this, so the community is, there is none of that concern. It's grief is what it is at this point. Anytime you have a loss to these levels, any loss is terrible, but a loss to this level, which is not a common thing, and certainly not a common thing here in Cecil County, it's tragic and terrible, and it takes a long time for people to process.
And as you can see by the yellow tape and heavy police presence, this is still a very active and ongoing investigation. No other incidents have been reported from this house in the past, and for now, the motive remains a mystery. Again, police say that more details will become available after relatives of this family have been notified of the tragedy. Reporting live in Cecil County, Rebecca Pryor, Fox 45 News.
Rebecca, thank you. Well, we're turning now to the latest in the West Baltimore water crisis. City officials have fully lifted the water boil advisory that's been in place since Monday night. Mayor Brandon Scott says there is no further evidence of contamination, and DPW Director Jason Mitchell says the system has been flushed.
DPW also says water samples from more than 100 locations have been tested, all coming back negative for contaminants. While the boil water advisory is over, the city says it is still working to identify how and where E. coli came in the water supply. Now, we have live team coverage in just a moment. Amy Simpson speaks with city residents about why they no longer trust the messaging coming from City Hall.
But first, while the mayor says the water is safe to drink, that doesn't mean all the questions are answered. Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost is live after pressing the mayor about the apparent communication breakdown. Mackenzie?
Yeah, Maxine and Kaya, there are still a lot of questions about what happened here, right? The mayor says that he is defending the city's rollout and the communication of this information, saying that everyone followed the guidelines and the protocols. But now we're seeing Councilman Eric Costello and a few other members of the city council demand leaders from the Department of Public Works and other city agencies to come here to City Hall next Thursday for the council members to ask questions, and they say they need to figure out what happened. Another day and more West Baltimoreans picking up water after E. coli contamination in their water. This process running smoothly, but getting information about the contaminated water to the public was not. And for the Department of Public Works, an agency with a $600 million budget, this issue, just the latest black eye. We pressed Mayor Brandon Scott about what happened.
But it seems to be that it's a department plagued with problems, perhaps mismanaged. And I know that a lot of people we've talked to say that they want to see some sort of accountability when it comes to how this, especially this situation, was handled. Communication seemed to be bungled. How do you plan to make sure that the community sees that someone is held accountable for this?
So again, Mackenzie, there was no misbundling of communication. You weren't here the other day, but we laid that out, that we follow the protocol of how you communicate and how you have to, MD has to say to DPW, yes, you can say this at this time. That was followed. We're going to follow every rule and every regulation. And when you're talking about an issue like this, again, this wasn't something that DPW mismanaged. They found out the water had this in it because they did the testing. This wasn't someone else telling us.
So you're satisfied with how the situation was handled top to bottom from everyone involved?
So I haven't even had a chance to breathe yet, Mackenzie. You should ask me that question in about 2 or 3 days as I go back and do analysis myself.
The mayor's confidence not felt by everyone in City Hall.
Yeah, it's beyond unacceptable.
Councilman Eric Costello says he, along with 4 other members, will hold an investigative hearing next week to get some answers from the people at the top.
To get into, the entire timeline around this event, what went wrong, what went right, and how we're going to ensure that the things that went wrong aren't going to happen again. There's no scenario in which any of that is okay, or in which DPW is tweeting at, 7 in the morning on Labor Day and is not putting out, follow-up communication until 9.5 hours later.
Especially when there are questions about how fast DPW started telling people after getting the green light from the state.
Did they give you the okay on Sunday, though?
They gave us an okay Sunday night, and we immediately began through midnight. Our team worked throughout that entire evening and that morning to create a message.
So it's safe to say that MDE told you guys to take action Sunday night, and then we didn't get the message until Monday?
No, again, they work with MDE through the Sunday night and through the night about what was going to happen and when it was going to happen, how it was going to happen. Again, nothing that DPW has done has been out of step with MDE.
I understand the need to follow all, regulatory standards, whether that's from the state, the federal government, whether it's following local, state, or federal law. But again, there is not an excuse for that lack of communication, that gap in 9 hours on Labor Day, not finding out about it until Monday morning when we had test results on Saturday, and then we had confirmed test results, again, to ensure it wasn't a false positive on Sunday. That's not okay. That gap should not exist.
DPW Director Jason Mitchell, one of the highest paid people in Baltimore government, earning $245,000 on the job for just over a year. Mitchell leading the department riddled with concerns, from trash and recycling pickup problems, embattled wastewater treatment plant that's now utilizing state oversight because of the issues, to soaring water bills. And now people in Baltimore coming out of another crisis, left wondering what could be next. Now, Councilman Costello says that resolution to have that investigative hearing will be formally introduced Monday night during the City Council hearing, but so far that investigative hearing is scheduled for Thursday at 2 o'clock. Earlier this afternoon, I also questioned Governor Larry Hogan about the timeline and the city working with the state. Here are his comments coming up in about 30 minutes. Live outside City Hall, Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
Thank you, Mackenzie. Even with the boil water advisory lifted for all of West Baltimore, the city now faces a battle to regain trust. And that's because some residents are questioning how to know their water at home is safe and clean. Fox 45's Amy Simpson has been following that part of the story all week. So, Amy, how are residents reacting to this news?
Yeah, well, Kai, I spoke to quite a few residents in West Baltimore today, several of whom tell me that they will not be jumping right back into using the water at home or even drinking it. And take a look at this. Mackenzie hinted at this in her story as well. But even after that water boil advisory was lifted fully around 9:30 this morning, this is video from around lunchtime. The people just kept coming to pick up clean water at the Harlem Park distribution site. It was a constant stream of cars or people walking with carts so that they could haul cases of water back home. And today I asked several of these West Baltimoreans if they trust their water. Here's what they had to say even after the city insisted there is no evidence of contaminants in the water supply. Do you trust the water?
No. Only to wash up.
Do you trust your water at your house?
I don't know. I might be still boiling mine for a couple more days.
Do you trust the water from your faucet?
No, because of the corrosion in the city, the pipelines.
So, Amy, what will it take for residents to regain that confidence in the West Baltimore water supply? We all saw that water coming out when it was brown out of one of those faucets, and I understand it. It would be tough to drink that again.
Yeah, so Kai, I think this will be a matter of only time will tell. Each resident, it'll take maybe something different for them to feel fully confident in using the water at their house again. But I did talk to one woman earlier this afternoon in West Baltimore, and she had some pretty specific criteria.
Get the mayor out here. Tell the mayor go in somebody's house and drink out the faucet. That's what I want to see. When he drink out the faucet, then I'm going to be more secure to drink out the faucet.
Now, DPW says it will continue handing out clean bottled water at its Harlem Park distribution site until 8 p.m. tonight and again until noon tomorrow. Reporting live, Amy Simpson, Fox 45 News.
That brings us now to our question of the day. Do you think Mayor Brandon Scott holds city agencies accountable? So far, 86% of those who voted say no. Go to foxbaltimore.com/vote to make your voice heard. Well, tonight, a Baltimore mother is suing Baltimore City Schools and her son's teacher for allegedly assaulting her 9-year-old son. The alleged incident caught on surveillance video, and tonight the family's attorney is speaking out. Keith Daniels joins us now with the video and more on this lawsuit. Keith?
Well, Maxine, again, the alleged victim in this case is a 9-year-old boy with special needs, allegedly assaulted by his teacher, and tonight the family's attorney is releasing video of the incident. Now take a look. Initially, you see children walking out of a classroom. Then the teacher seen grabbing a boy from the doorway, pulling him into the hallway. The boy is seemingly grabbed again. There's a tussle before both of them fall to the ground. Now this happened at Pimlico Elementary Middle School in July 2019. The lawsuit filed this year in July. The family's attorney going public now, he says, after the city filed a motion to dismiss the case. He says school officials need to be held accountable for what happened.
Words in and of themselves cannot describe what my client experienced on that day. He was 9 years old at the time and is an autistic student. We all know the issues of safety when it comes to public schools. And now our children have to be worried about whether or not they're safe from their own teachers.
Well, because there is pending litigation, there's no comment from school officials at this hour. Meantime, we're told the boy is no longer a student at Baltimore City Public Schools. Reporting tonight, Keith Daniels, Fox 45 News.
Keith, thank you. People across the country vowed to never forget in the wake of 9/11. Coming up, how many are working to fulfill that promise as a new generation who did not experience the tragedy reaches adulthood?
Governor Larry Hogan is criticizing the Baltimore Department of Public Works in the wake of the latest water crisis. Why he's saying the agency must do better for city residents.
Bad news on the first Purple Friday of the year. Why Raven superstar Lamar Jackson's long-term future with the team is up in the air.
And we're in for a nice and pleasant day tomorrow with temperatures in the low 80s. But then starting next week, we have the chance for rain. I'll break down the timing coming up in my Weather Authority forecast.
Fox 45 News, winner of 17 2022 Regional Emmy Awards, more than all other Baltimore news stations combined.
Friday is payday for many people, or every other Friday, however you get paid. Ravens fans hoping that would be the case for starting quarterback Lamar Jackson.
Today, Mark Jackson's self-imposed deadline for contract negotiations, but the two sides were unable to come to a deal. Rocco DeSango has more on what this means for the big season ahead.
Yeah, Kai, Maxine, it really doesn't change much for the Ravens as far as the on-the-field product goes. Lamar Jackson will play the season on the fifth-year option of his rookie deal, making just over $23 million in 2022. Ravens general manager Eric DeCosta released a statement on Lamar's deadline day after the two sides were unable to come to terms on an extension, saying, quote, "We greatly appreciate how he has handled this process, and we are excited about our team with Lamar leading the way. We will continue to work towards a long-term contract after the season, but for now, we are looking forward to a 2022 successful campaign." That all begins this Sunday on the road against the Jets following Friday's practice. John Harbaugh was asked about the situation, and he says despite contract talks between the two sides falling through, QB1's focus remains the same.
Those things will work themselves out in the end. I'm confident that. I think I said at the beginning that'll happen when it's time, and when it's time, it'll happen. So Lamar's playing quarterback. He's going to be playing quarterback here for a long time. He and I talked about it yesterday a little bit, like, hey, man, let's go be our best and go focus on football. And that's what he's been doing all along. So I know nothing will change with that, and just focused on Sunday.
So following the season, when contract talks resume, the Ravens can either put Jackson on a franchise tag, exclusive or non-exclusives, or, of course, sign him to a long-term deal. We'll just have to wait and see, Kai.
Rocco, we will have to wait and see. Well, Ravens fans are reacting to this news on social media. Let's take a look at what some of you are saying out there. If he leaves, I'm going to cry for weeks. Elijah, you and the rest of Ravens fans, that's for sure. Pay the man. Oh, I heard that. Pay Rocco. Pay Lamar. Even if this is the last year for Lamar in purple, we will win the Super Bowl before he goes. All right, and how about one more comment here? Calm down, everyone. Lamar Jackson isn't going anywhere. Where all that means is that they're going to drop a hefty bag on him. He's got a lot of money right now. Next year, a few cap space will be available after that.
It has been a very nice day outside, temperatures in the 80s, and we had plenty of sunshine, so a great way to start the weekend. However, we do have the chance for rain as the weekend comes to a close. Right now we sit at 82 with sunny skies, and then it feels like it's actually 81, so not humid at all outside. Winds are out of the northeast around 8 miles per hour. Across the state, we're mainly seeing those numbers in the low 80s. For many of us, this is slightly below average, but we are talking even lower temperatures later this weekend. First, overnight, our temperatures fall to the 50s and the 60s. We'll wake up to mostly clear skies, but there could be a few areas of patchy fog in the morning. If you are heading out early, that's something to keep in mind. Then as we head into the afternoon, 82 for the temperature once again, so similar to what we have right now, but we'll have more clouds. Then our numbers drop on Sunday, 78, and we do have the chance for a few showers. The rain doesn't stop there. We've got another round of rain coming on Monday. Temperatures will be a little bit warmer, though, with highs in the low 80s. So here's what we're looking at. We'll have a few clouds move in overnight and into the morning, but we'll start off dry. We'll wake up to temperatures in the 50s and the 60s. Then heading into the afternoon, a few areas of rain are possible, especially toward the west. This continues into the evening and into the night. Our rain chances will increase. Many of us will have the chance at least for a few scattered showers. These will continue off and on overnight and then into Sunday morning. Expect to start off with a few areas of showers before that rain begins to spread as we head later into the morning and into the afternoon. So again, Sunday is going to be the next chance for rain, and that could impact your plans, so keep an eye on the radar. After Sunday, we've got more rain on the way on Monday, and then on Tuesday, there's the chance for a few spotty showers, but we're in for a nice and dry forecast as we finish out the upcoming week. Tonight, temperatures fall to 63 with mostly clear skies and areas of fog. Then as we head into the day tomorrow, high temperatures around 82. Those clouds will gradually increase, and by the second half of the day, expect mostly cloudy skies. Moving into Sunday, we do have the next chance for a few showers. Notice temperatures 78. That is below average for this time of year. And we're talking those scattered showers continuing throughout the afternoon and overnight. Then the rain continues on Monday. High temperatures around 82. This looks like the best chance for rain, so you may need the umbrellas on that day, and possibly even on Tuesday. We have the chance for a few scattered showers, temperatures around 82. After that, we dry out and warm up. Temperatures return to the mid-80s with plenty of sunshine. Back to you.
A shooting injures 2 at the park set up to mourn Uvalde massacre victims. Why parents say they're scared and frustrated. And internet companies are not legally liable for much of the content posted on their platforms. Why the White House wants to change that.
How old is too old for Washington's aging politicians? I'm Scott Thuman with a look at new numbers and voter concerns.
Here's something you don't see every day. Sweeping widespread agreement between Republicans and Democrats. The two parties finding common ground over a similar complaint. Lawmakers in Washington are too old. St. Clair's chief political correspondent Scott Thuman is breaking down the numbers tonight.
It's no secret there's a tense political divide in America, and while voters differ over who to support, there's rare agreement about how old they should be. One breakdown shows the average American is 38 years old, but the average member of Congress is 59.
All three Democratic leaders in the House are in their 80s. Mitch McConnell is no spring chicken in the Senate.
In the upper chamber, 10 senators, Republicans and Democrats, are currently over 78, in part prompting this new CBS poll in which 73% of Americans say there should be age limits, perhaps surprisingly, across the spectrum. Democrats, independents, and Republicans seeing eye to eye. Washington is just too old.
It was across the board. I mean, finally, the country's unified on something. I mean, the other side of the coin is, don't people have the right to elect whoever the heck they want?
This is not okay.
And maybe why there's such exuberance over the so-called young guns. The Constitution states the minimum age to make it to Washington, but not the maximum, leaving open the question of how old is too old. The most popular response of voters think the maximum age limit should be 70 years old, a topic that ruffled feathers in a recent congressional debate for New York's seat, where youth challenged experience.
It's 2022. It is time to turn the page on 1992.
What have you done? Achievements speak louder than words.
Also raising debate over term limits. They exist for presidents, but not Congress.
Term limits have been a subject in the public debate for at least 30 years.
It seems Americans want those longest term, long in the tooth politicians to just stop. On Capitol Hill, I'm Scott Thuman.
President Biden is renewing his support for nixing Section 230, a law protecting internet companies from being held liable for content posted on their platforms. The announcement was made yesterday during a listening session at the White House involving several internet companies. Neither Google nor any other major big tech firm was invited. White House leaders refused to say why.
And the president also encourages federal agencies to use the tools they have to continue advancing these principles throughout their work as well. And we welcome any feedback from the tech companies.
It is up to Congress, not the president, to get rid of the legal shield. So far, Republicans and Democrats support revoking it, but for very different reasons. Democrats want to hold big tech accountable for hate speech, while Republicans want them held liable for censoring conservatives. King Charles gives his first address as monarch of the United Kingdom, what he had to say as he ascends to the throne. And a nuclear disaster could be brewing in Ukraine, why the international community is pleading with both armies to stop shelling near a key power plant. Plus, Baltimore City residents no longer under a water boil advisory. What Governor Larry Hogan is now saying about this crisis. Tonight, while the city continues to investigate where the E. coli water contamination came from, there are questions about when DPW and the state started working to notify the public.
Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost questioned Governor Larry Hogan about this today and joins us live with more. Mackenzie?
Yeah, Kai and Maxine, we know that right now the Maryland Department of Environment, or MDE, they're the ones responsible for the implementation of oversight of the Safe Drinking Water Act. That's the federal law that requires public water systems to notify the public within 24 hours of a confirmed contamination. Now, the city says that they followed all of these protocols correctly. The mayor, we heard him defending how the city rolled out that information, but there are still a lot of questions about what happened. When I asked Governor Larry Hogan about his intel about whether the state told the city about what to do and when, he says that while there are questions here in the city, he knows that the state agencies didn't hesitate. What do you know about the timeline of this, and is it concerning to you?
Well, it's concerning to me that there seems to have been just kind of a lack of transparency, and you know, some of the information coming out of the city was delayed, but behind the scenes there wasn't any confusion at all, and all of our agencies at the state level have been working since day one to try to help the city with the problem there, and it seems like they're making progress.
Do you know if MDE directed the city to take action Sunday?
I don't know.
Now, when I've asked MDE if it is investigating whether the city potentially violated that federal law, they said that right now they were focusing on ensuring that people had safe drinking water. They're ensuring that the contamination was contained. We know now that the city says that the contamination is not a concern right now, but this issue and the question about the timelines, no doubt, will come up during that investigative hearing here at City Hall with members of City Council trying to get some information from city agencies scheduled for next week. Live outside City Hall, Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
Mackenzie, thank you. Well, as we mentioned, DPW's budget is more than $600 million to provide essential services to the city. However, we have seen several failures and mistakes come from that department. In March of this year, state environmental officials came in and took control of the city's owned Back River wastewater treatment plant in Dundalk. Residents complaining about solids floating in the Back River. State investigators also say they have received reports of staff sleeping, sitting around, even watching TV while on the job. Plus, Fox 45 News has heard from several residents over the past several years with water bills in the thousands, with no clear real reason why. The city has said some of these residents have past due bills, but the majority of residents we've spoken with point to broken pipes.
Our continuing coverage right now on the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. This afternoon, King Charles addressed Britain and the entire world for the first time.
Queen Elizabeth was a life well lived, a promise with destiny kept, and she is mourned most deeply in her passing. That promise of lifelong service I renew to you all today.
The king promised to protect his mother's legacy and to follow in her footsteps, ruling with what he said was, quote, loyalty and love. Charles's official coronation won't take place for several months as the country mourns the Queen's death. The Queen's funeral is expected to be held at Westminster Abbey in less than 2 weeks.
Countries around the world are honoring Queen Elizabeth II's legacy. New Zealand's army performing a 96-gun salute in the country's capital of Wellington. The waterfront ceremony honors Queen Elizabeth II, who had a special role there in the country, as New Zealand is a constitutional monarchy with the Queen as sovereign. According to the British family's official website, Queen Elizabeth II's role made her responsible for appointing a Governor-General for New Zealand on the advice of the country's Prime Minister. She also was head of the armed forces. And in the UK, Parliament is hosting a special session today to pay tribute to the late Queen. Multiple members talked about the Queen's strength and leadership, her military service, and her ability to get the country through some of the toughest times in her 70-year reign. Many shared personal stories that spoke to her softer side, with funny moments they recalled over the years.
But I think our shock is keener today, because we are coming to understand in her death the full magnitude of what she did for us all.
Members of Parliament also wishing a long and prosperous reign to King Charles III.
UK businesses and government agencies are pausing operations to mourn the Queen. The Bank of England has postponed an important monetary policy meeting by 1 week, and there will be no English Premier League soccer this weekend. The league has postponed all games as a mark of respect for the Queen. King Charles asked that the period of mourning carry a week after Queen Elizabeth's funeral. Well, many are now questioning Britain's overall support of the monarchy as Charles III ascends to the kingship. Last year, 60% of Brits said that they favored keeping the monarchy in place, according to an Ipsos poll. That's down from 76% in 2016. In 2012, 73% of Britons said they felt the institution was good for the country. In 2021, that number dropped to 56%.
Developing news now. Police are investigating a shooting that happened Thursday evening at Uvalde Memorial Park in Texas.
Everything was going by really quick, and we hear like a couple more gunshots, like just bah, 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 bah.
According to UPD, 2 kids are being treated at San Antonio Hospital from their injuries. Police did not share their condition, and officers are questioning 4 suspects about the shooting. This all comes nearly 4 months after the shooting massacre at Robb Elementary School, where 21 people died. A Tennessee man accused of killing 4 people and wounding 3 others in a live stream shooting rampage is seen in court today. 19-year-old Ezekiel Kelly says he can't afford a lawyer, so he's granted a public defender. He'll remain jailed on a first-degree murder charge. The attack shut down the city of Memphis on Wednesday with a baseball stadium, universities, and public bus services locked down. Residents were warned to shelter in place amid the citywide manhunt.
Officials warn of a potential nuclear disaster in Ukraine. Despite international pleas for Russian and Ukrainian forces to stop, shelling does continue near a nuclear plant. International Atomic Energy Agency staff say that the power infrastructure feeding the city where plant workers live has been destroyed by shelling, and that's caused a complete blackout.
The shelling is putting in danger operators and their families, making it difficult to adequately staff the plant. Together, this has significantly increased the risk of a nuclear accident.
The IAEA says the only way to ensure there's not a nuclear accident is to stop the shelling immediately.
On the path forward, medical experts say the best way to keep yourself safe from COVID-19 is vaccines and boosters. Now, a new shot is available and ready to go into arms. Megan Gillen speaks with an expert about what this means as the world tries to move past the pandemic.
The CDC greenlights the rollout of a new COVID-19 booster shot, and this one would treat both the old strain and the new strain circulating right now. Dr. Niharika Khanna joining us to explain how it works and what this could mean for the future.
It's a bivalent booster, so it's addressing the old strain and also the new BA4 and 5 strains that are now in the community at the level of almost 90%.
Will we see an annual shot? Is that something we're going to see here?
I think that is absolutely the aspirational goal, because we don't want to be rolling out boosters now in July and August and all this. We want to try and make it make sense. Like, you enjoy your summer, you come back to school, you get a booster and you're protected for the fall. That's the aspiration.
Okay.
But again, we have to think a little bit that how much do we know about this SARS-CoV-2? So if we were to see a brand new strain appear again, then you would probably see the vaccine community get together and run around and make another booster.
For now, the CDC is recommending everyone 12 and older get the updated booster when available, as long as it's been at least 2 months since their last vaccine. I'm Megan Gillen, Fox 45 News.
A new Gallup poll finds nearly half of all people working in the United States are what's known as quiet quitters. Medical reporter Liz Bonus explains that could be a health hazard.
Hey there, hello to you. Quiet quitting is the term used for just meeting the minimum standard at work to get by. A popular thing these days in this pandemic time. In fact, Gallup recently found those actively disengaged at work have hit an all-time high. They say only about 1 in 3 of us now do go to work and go the extra mile. Only about 1 in 5 speak up about it. But everyone else?
they begin to ghost the employer. They just quietly just pull back.
Beth Gifford, an adjunct business instructor at Cedarville University, says it's been a thing for quite a while, but the COVID-19 pandemic made it worse.
I do believe that coming out of COVID, everyone has sort of reevaluated their lives.
Well, work-related personal time boundaries are critical to your health.
I think the onus is really on employers to work on making the environment sustainable and acceptable to all that's within the walls.
Psychiatrist Dr. Tracy Cummings says quiet quitting can be an unhealthy coping mechanism. Are some of these, however, early warning signs that you may actually be depressed?
So it could be. So if someone is pulling back and isolating themselves, that may be a sign of a bigger concern.
In all likelihood, she says you likely are feeling underappreciated or unchallenged. To reverse the cycle, your boss may need to make sure
people are working to their training ability, so they're not spending time doing things that isn't really maximizing what they're really good at.
And Dr. Cummings says you need to talk to a safe work person and see if you can become a quiet, engaged, happy employee. She reminds us if your safe person to talk to is not inside your own work environment, don't be afraid to reach out outside it. I'm medical reporter Liz Bonus. Now back to you.
We continue to follow the water crisis in Baltimore City, while residents say despite the boil water advisory being lifted, they don't trust messaging coming from City Hall.
21 years after 9/11, the meaning behind Never Forget is evolving. I'm Atrell Nashar with how younger Americans view this chapter in history.
And it's been a nice day with comfortable temperatures, but we're looking at the return of hot weather as we head into next week. I'll let you know just how hot it gets coming up in my full forecast.
The 21st anniversary of September 11th is Sunday, and many will recall where they were and what they felt on that fateful day. As a new generation of adults comes of age, research shows their understanding of the terrorist attack is different than those who lived through it. National correspondent Atra El-Nashar spoke to a 9/11 first responder about what it means to never forget.
On September 11th, 2001, Jamie Hazen was on the phone with his mom when the first plane hit.
I didn't have to stop and think, do I help? It was just out the door.
A former EMT and Red Cross trainer, Hazen rushed to the World Trade Center. Like so many first responders, Hazen would go on to suffer from a slew of health complications. 21 years later, Hazen still struggles to talk about it and what he saw.
When you bring me back like that to talk about this, it's hard. It's very, very hard.
Forgetting will never be an option for Hazen. But never forget, a phrase many automatically associate with 9/11, resonates differently for others. According to a new survey by YouGov and the group More in Common, 15% of Gen Z respondents said they don't know when asked what Americans are supposed to never forget. 9% of millennials also said they don't know, as did 7% of Gen Xers.
When I look at today's generation, they don't know about 9/11 no differently than my generation doesn't know firsthand what it's like to have witnessed the bombing of Pearl Harbor. A lot of time goes by, and often with time we forget.
But the most popular answer to what Americans should never forget are the victims and their families and the sacrifices of first responders on and after 9/11. The survey also finds Gen Zs and millennials are significantly less likely than older generations to describe post-9/11 America as patriotic or united. But one undeniable moment of global unity weighs especially heavy this week.
We are told that at the request of the Queen, the Coldstream Guards band played the Star-Spangled Banner. Let's listen.
The rare change in protocol from the Queen remembered by lawmakers this week following news of her passing. The coming days sure to resurface grief, but also recollections of unity and service. In Washington, I'm Atra El-Nashar reporting.
It's been a very nice start to the weekend. We have plenty of sunshine and warm temperatures, low humidity. So great evening to spend outdoors. 82 for the current temperature with sunshine over Baltimore. Winds are out of the northeast around 8 miles, providing a nice breeze. And across the rest of the state, we're mainly seeing those numbers in the upper 70s and the low 80s. Temperatures have been below average for many of us, and that trend will continue throughout much of the weekend. First overnight, those numbers fall to the 50s and to the 60s. We'll wake up to mostly clear skies, but there could be a few areas of patchy fog in the morning. If you will be out and driving early, just make sure to keep that in mind. As we head into tomorrow morning, 66 around 8 a.m., then those numbers continue to climb to the upper 70s and the low 80s. We'll have increasing clouds, and by 8 p.m., we're looking at mostly cloudy skies, but a great day to spend outside. Then those numbers will be in the 60s and the 70s as we head into Sunday, but we do have the chance for a few stray showers. Notice as we head overnight, more clouds move in, and we'll wake up to more clouds tomorrow morning. Temperatures in the 50s and 60s. Then as we head into the afternoon and evening, there will be the chance for a few showers, mainly to our west, but the rain gradually spreads out across the rest of the area heading overnight, and this continues off and on into Sunday morning. Rain will be a little more spotty, but then our rain coverage increases heading into the late morning and early afternoon. So make sure that you're keeping an eye on the radar if you plan to be outside. Monday will be a better chance for rain. Then we have the chance for a few spotty showers. As we head into Tuesday, the rest of the week does stay mostly dry with temperatures gradually rising. Meanwhile, we're keeping watch on Earl. That is still a hurricane in the Atlantic, and it's expected to weaken as it moves north into cooler waters. We're not expecting local impacts. However, there could be a few rip currents that could be a risk to parts of the Carolinas. We're also keeping watch on 3 areas off the coast of Africa. They all have a low chance of formation, but these are areas to watch as we get close to the climatological peak of hurricane season, which is actually tomorrow. 63 for the low temperature with mostly clear skies and areas of patchy fog. 82 for the high tomorrow with clouds gradually increasing. By the afternoon, expect mostly cloudy skies. Then as we continue into Sunday, we have our next chance for showers off and on throughout the day. 78 for the temperature, 82 on Monday with rainy conditions, 82 again with a few spotty showers on Tuesday, but we're back to drier and warmer temperatures after that with lots of sunshine as we head into the rest of the week. Back to you.
Thank you, Jasmine. Coming up at 5 o'clock on Fox 45, 5 people are shot and killed inside a Cecil County home, the latest on the investigation. First, we're getting you ready for the first NFL weekend of the season, who teammates think will be victorious on Sunday.
We are back for another season of Pigskin Predictions. Football start this week, and we're ready to go. So I've been at this pigskin game for more than a decade now, but my first guest of the season is new to the game, so we've got to break you in a little bit.
Are you going to be gentle?
No, not at all.
I knew you would say that.
This is cutthroat football.
Okay, let's
here.
go. Okay.
Mark Clark, the newest addition to the family, host of Be More Lifestyle, and of course you see him on our morning show as well. He is my challenger for this week's Pigskin Predictions. Can you take the heat?
She's going down.
Oh, he can take the heat.
She's going down.
Let's go. I
don't care
be
about
nice.
the purple dress.
Yeah, where's your purple?
I know.
You're already off to a bad start.
Well, you know.
See? No, I know. Do you know is the question. All right, Baltimore Ravens at New York Jets.
I'm going to go with the Ravens, of course.
Of course. I don't know about the of course. There's no purple.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, the Jets are injured. We got, this is our year. I'm going with the Ravens. I know you got the purple dress on,
I'm
obviously.
going with the Ravens, of course.
We know.
Are you excited about the Joe Flacco, Lamar Jackson matchup?
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting.
Will there be a Lamar Jackson thing?
There has to, yes. There will be Lamar Jackson, of course.
He's not sitting down? Okay, yes. And you know what? I'm not going to say it.
I know, the contract negotiations. I know, we talk about this a lot.
We're not going there.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Ravens, both of us. All right. Cleveland Browns at Carolina Panthers.
This is all about the get back, of course.
Yes, it is.
Baker Mayfield at the Panthers.
They traded him away.
You know what I'm saying? They played him. He's got something to prove.
That's right. So, you know what? I'm going to go with the Panthers on that, too. But I was saying to you before.
Are you going to just take every pick I pick? You doing the same thing? You just following after me? Is that how it works? So you can't lose? Okay.
All right, here, let's do this one. Pittsburgh Steelers at Cincinnati Bengals. I'm going with the Bengals.
Okay, great.
Super Bowl, I mean, made it to the Super Bowl last year. I think you kind of got to go with them.
I like
over the Steelers.
I'm going with the Steelers. The Steelers are like a broke man's Ravens.
You're getting ready to go down. I see. You're easy money.
Okay.
You're going with the Steelers. Easy money. I'm not. All right, Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Dallas Cowboys. I'll let you go on this one.
I'm going to go with the Cowboys because everybody knows Tom got some problems in the household. Happy wife, sad husband. Okay, it don't rhyme, but still. I'm saying he's in trouble.
But I say he's not in trouble because whether she wants him or not, she wants him to go make the money. So she's rooting for him. So I'm going to root for him, too. She's like, get out on that field because the alimony you're going to pay me.
She's not rooting for him. She's mad because he's playing.
I know.
Patrice. Okay, stick with me if you're trying to win this thing. I'm telling you.
So you're going with Cowboys?
Yes.
I'm not. I'm still going with Brady. He's got something to prove. He's going to go out there and be like, look.
Have you seen him? No, he looks a mess.
I mean, that's what happens when your
broken.
woman leaves you. Women run the world. All right, Jacksonville Jaguars at Washington Commanders. I could go either way on this one. So what are you going to do?
Ladies
I'm going to
first.
do opposite.
Ladies first.
No.
I'm going with the Jags.
I'm going with the Commanders. Then. Why are you going with the Jags?
Only because I think this is their year. Their quarterback, have a great quarterback. This is their year.
Even they won like 3 games in the last 3 years.
This is their year.
This is their year.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know, I'm not necessarily on the Commanders bandwagon, but I'm going to go with them just because you're not.
Okay.
All right. Share your pigskin predictions with me each week. Go to my Facebook page and leave me a post, and you can cheer with me as I beat up on Mark Clark.
Good luck.
Oh, how nice.
Good luck.
Coming up on Fox 45 News at 5 o'clock, a boil water advisory is lifted for Baltimore, pressing city leaders on whether they believe their response was correct to the crisis. A mother says a teacher assaulted her child. The latest on the lawsuit facing Baltimore City schools after the video surfaces. A mass shooting in Cecil County. What we know about the 5 people found dead inside of an Elk Mills home.
The boil water advisory in the city is no more. Fox 45 is pressing leaders on how they plan on making sure the water stays safe to drink.
And a mother says her child was assaulted by a teacher seen in this video. The lawsuit she's bringing against Baltimore City schools.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 5.
We begin this evening with breaking news. I'm Kai Jackson.
And I'm Maxine Stryker. The Cecil County Sheriff's Office says deputies found 5 people dead inside a home in Elk Mills just after 9:15 this morning.
Rebecca Pryor joins us live from Cecil County with the very latest on the investigation. Rebecca.
Well, right now, police are holding off on revealing all of the details until relatives of this family can be notified. But they are confirming that the bodies of 2 adults and 3 children were found scattered through this Elk Mills home at around 9:30 this morning. One body was located in the garage, the others in various locations on the 1st and 2nd floor. The children were allegedly homeschooled, currently in 5th, 7th, and 8th grade. Each of the victims appeared to have been gunned down with a semi-automatic handgun. That handgun was found beside the father when police arrived. Police also believe the father made the 911 call reporting his wife and 3 children shot and killed. Dispatchers describing that call as short and showing no signs of distress. At this point, Cecil County Sheriff Scott Adams saying the only threat left to the public is heartbreak.
There's not a public safety concern as far as it going outside of this, so the community is, there is none of that concern. It's grief is what it is at this point. Anytime you have a loss to these levels, any loss is terrible, but a loss to this level, which is not a common thing, and certainly not a common thing here in Cecil County, it's tragic and terrible, and it takes a long time for people to process.
Now you see the yellow crime scene tape still up, and on the other side of the house, multiple police cars remain parked outside. So this is still a very active and ongoing investigation. As far as what neighbors are saying, I did talk to one just a few moments ago off camera. He told me that the 3 kids, 1 boy and 2 girls, would play on that trampoline day in and day out. They seemed respectful. He said that they seemed full of life and that they didn't deserve for this to happen to them. And while he never expected for something as tragic as this, he did mention that the family kept to themselves and that they seemed a bit odd. Still, a motive remains a mystery. And again, police are saying that we will get more details, more information once relatives of this family have been notified of this tragedy. Reporting live out of Cecil County, Rebecca Pryor, Fox 45 News.
We have tested now not just that area, but across the whole system, and there have been no positive tests across the system as we go and test through this.
Well, your water is safe to drink. That's the message from the mayor and DPW leaders today after they say the most recent testing shows no signs of E. coli contamination. We have team coverage tonight. Mackenzie Frost is pressing leaders on some unanswered questions about the contamination.
But first, our coverage starts with Amy Simpson, who has the latest on the end of the boil water advisory. Amy, how are residents reacting to this news tonight?
Yeah, Maxine, I spoke to quite a few people, actually, residents in West Baltimore today who say they won't be jumping right back into drinking or even using their faucet water. The news came around 9:30 this morning.
We have found no further evidence of contamination and can assure our residents that water is now safe to use throughout.
And while the water boil advisory is over for all of West Baltimore, the city says it still doesn't know how and where the water supply became contaminated with E. coli.
So our focus now within the Department of Public Works is look at root cause.
DPW Director Jason Mitchell says the agency is looking at construction projects, water main breaks, and valve repairs in this part of West Baltimore, as crews also continue distributing thousands of bottles of water. Around lunchtime today, the people just kept coming to pick up clean water at the Harlem Park distribution site, even after the boil water advisory was lifted.
The last 4 days.
Today, Fox 45 News asking West Baltimoreans if they have trust and confidence in the water coming out of their faucets at home. Do you trust the water?
No. Only to wash up.
Do you trust your water at your house?
Oh, I don't know. I might be still boiling mine for a couple more days.
Do you trust the water from your faucet?
No, because of the corrosion in the city. the pipelines.
The city now facing a battle to regain trust from some city residents, as some are critical of how and when the news was first shared of a contaminated water supply, or question how to know for sure their water is clean and safe.
I don't believe that such a problem that easy can get fixed. They never told us where the problem was at or what started the problem. What can they do to fix that problem? They just gave us the word and we supposed to go with it.
This woman declining to show her face, but saying what it'll take for her to feel confident again.
Get the mayor out here. Tell the mayor go in somebody's house and drink out the faucet. That's what I want to see. When he drink out the faucet, then I'm going to be more secure to drink out the faucet.
And DPW says it will continue distributing bottled water at that Harlem Park distribution site until 8 p.m. tonight and again until noon tomorrow. Reporting live in Baltimore, Amy Simpson, Fox 45 News.
So you're satisfied with how the situation was handled top to bottom from everyone involved?
So I haven't even had a chance to breathe yet, Mackenzie. You should ask me that question in about 2 or 3 days as I go back and do analysis myself.
Mayor Brandon Scott is defending the city's communication of the contaminated water despite several unanswered questions tonight. Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost joins us live. And Mackenzie, some city council members are not happy with how long it took people to find out that there was E. coli in their water.
Yeah, Maxine, that's right. And that's why we're seeing Councilman Eric Costello and 4 other council members call for an investigative hearing. They say that they want to know why there was an apparent 9-hour gap from DPW in communication on Labor Day. The councilman says these unanswered questions are exactly why he's demanding several leaders come down here to City Hall and answer these questions. He wants to hear directly from the Department of Public Works Director Jason Mitchell, the Health Director, the Health Commissioner, members of Mayor Brandon Scott's communication staff, as well as members of the Emergency Management Center. He says that these questions need to be answered and the people of Baltimore deserve to know.
To get into, the entire timeline around this event, what went wrong, what went right, and how we're going to ensure that the things that went wrong aren't going to happen again. It's beyond unacceptable. Where is the boil water area, boil water advisory? Where is the boil water advisory not? Those things are not okay. Those are the most basic core functions of government, of getting that information out that we failed to do effectively during this crisis.
Well, Mackenzie, the mayor says that the city followed the protocol, but there are a lot of people who are obviously still very frustrated about this problem.
Yeah, absolutely. You just heard some of those people tell my colleague Amy Simpson there that they still don't know if they trust that water, right? And this isn't the first time that we're seeing problems pop up for the Department of Public Works. It's an agency in Baltimore with a budget of more than $600 million annually, but problems continuously pop up with water billing issues, the embattled wastewater treatment plant, issues picking up trash and recycling on time, and now this one. But despite all of that, Mayor Brandon Scott is doubling down on his confidence.
But it seems to be that it's a department plagued with problems, perhaps mismanaged. And I know that a lot of people we've talked to say that they want to see some sort of accountability when it comes to how this, especially this situation, was handled. Communication seemed to be bungled. How do you plan to make sure that the community sees that someone is held accountable for this?
So again, Mackenzie, there was no misbundling of communication. You weren't here the other day, but we laid that out, that we follow the protocol of how you communicate and how you have to, MD has to say to DPW, yes, you can say this at this time. That was followed. We're going to follow every rule and every regulation. And when you're talking about an issue like this, again, this wasn't something that DPW mismanaged. They found out the water had this in it because they did the testing. This wasn't someone else telling us.
Now, as we hear the mayor and the DPW director say that the water is safe to drink, this problem is far from over. Live outside City Hall, Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
A crisis in the classroom as Baltimore mother sues Baltimore City Schools and her son's teacher for allegedly assaulting her 9-year-old son. That alleged incident caught on surveillance video, and tonight the family's attorney is speaking out. Keith Daniels joins us live right now with more on the video and also that lawsuit. Keith?
Well, Kai, again, the alleged victim in this lawsuit is a 9-year-old boy with special needs, the alleged victim of an assault by his teacher. And tonight, the family's attorney is releasing video of that incident. Now, Take a look here. Initially, you see children walking out of a classroom, then the teacher seen grabbing a boy from the doorway, pulling him into the hallway. The boy is seemingly grabbed again. There's a tussle before falling to the ground, both of them. This happened at Pimlico Elementary Middle School in July 2019. The lawsuit filed this year in July. Now, the family's attorney going public now, he says, after the city filed a motion to dismiss the case. He says school officials need to be held accountable for what happened.
Words in and of themselves cannot describe what my client experienced on that day. He was 9 years old at the time and is an autistic student. We all know the issues of safety when it comes to public schools, and now our children have to be worried about whether or not they're safe from their own teachers.
Well, because there's pending litigation, school officials say they're not commenting at the moment. Meantime, we're told the boy is no longer a student at Baltimore City Public Schools. We're live tonight. Keith Daniels, Fox 45 News.
It's a big weekend in Baltimore.
The Ravens are about to play their first in-season game. It's the final weekend of the Maryland State Fair, and it's Fleet Week.
That's right. Jasmine Lomax joins us right now to let us know what the weather will be like as we move into this weekend. Jasmine?
Yeah, there's a lot happening this weekend, but if you're planning on doing anything this evening, it looks absolutely fantastic outside. We're still sitting at 82 with sunny skies over Towson. Winds are out of the northeast, light at this time, and across the rest of the state, we are seeing those numbers in the 70s and 80s, so it's still nice and warm, but with the low humidity, it's comfortable. Tomorrow, temperatures will be in the low 80s once again, so a great day to spend outside. Then as we head into Sunday, we do have the next chance for a few showers. That will be followed by more rain on Monday, and that could have impacts on your plans. I'll break down the timing of the rain coming up in my full forecast. Back to you.
Well, Friday is payday for many of us, and the Ravens fans are hoping that will be the case for starting quarterback Lamar Jackson.
Today, Mark Jackson's self-imposed deadline for contract negotiations with the two sides, unfortunately, were unable to come to a deal. Rocco DeSangro has more on what this means for the season ahead.
Yeah, Kai, Maxine, it really doesn't change much for the Ravens as far as the on-the-field product goes. Lamar Jackson will play the season on the fifth-year option of his rookie deal, making just over $23 million in 2022. Ravens general manager Eric DeCosta released a statement on Lamar's deadline day after the two sides were unable to come to terms on an extension. DeCosta saying, quote, "We greatly appreciate how he has handled this process, and we are excited about our team with Lamar leading the way. We will continue to work towards a long-term contract after the season, but for now, we are looking forward to a successful 2022 campaign." And that all begins this Sunday on the road against the New York Jets. Following Friday's practice, John Harbaugh was asked about the situation, and he says despite contract talks between the two sides falling through, QB1's focus remains the same.
Those things will work themselves out in the end. I'm confident that. I think I said at the beginning that'll happen when it's time, and when it's time, it'll happen. So Lamar's playing quarterback. He's going to be playing quarterback here for a long time. He and I talked about it yesterday a little bit, like, hey, man, let's go be our best and go focus on football. And that's what he's been doing all along. So I know nothing will change with that, and just focused on Sunday.
Following the season, when contract talks resume, the Ravens can either put Jackson on a franchise tag, exclusive or non-exclusive, or, of course, sign him to a long-term deal. We'll just have to wait and see, Kai and Maxine.
Rocco, thank you. The governor weighs in on the water crisis in Baltimore, pressing to find out if he believes the response was handled properly.
You may have seen on social media parents posting back-to-school photos with that chalkboard. I'm Angela Brown in Washington, D.C. The warning from law enforcement about the dangers of posting too much information.
Law enforcement agencies across the country are posting a warning to parents on social media about back-to-school photos.
Yeah, we've all seen them. The National Desk's Angela Brown has details on why officers say parents are posting too much information.
Some parents print them out, others buy those mini chalkboards that may say their child's name, where they go to school, even what grade they're in. Now, law enforcement officers are warning that parents are giving out too much information and they're taking their message to social media. You may have seen one of these chalkboards on your Facebook feed, along with a back-to-school picture. Law enforcement now warning parents they are giving out too much information. The Carver County Sheriff's Office racking up over 181,000 shares on Facebook with this photo. On one side, showing a chalkboard filled out. The other, mostly blank, with a green check mark. Even police in Ontario, Canada, are posting similar pictures. This one on Twitter, warning: predators and fraudsters look for details that appear on things such as back-to-school posters. Cybersecurity experts say one piece of information alone may not be harmful, but a lot of information together paints a picture for a predator.
But when you start putting 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 pieces together, you start gaining a pretty good picture of who that child is, where they are, where they live, where they go to school, what their interest might be, who their friends are.
The Better Business Bureau coming out with this warning as well, telling parents to double check your privacy settings and watch out for phony friend requests. Experts warn predators may use this information to gain your child's trust.
As soon as someone approaches a child online and says, "Oh, I'm a student at the school down the street from you, and I'm also in 5th grade," it lowers their ability to protect themselves.
If you decide to take and post the picture, experts recommend you leave out location clues, don't tag your children, and leave out information about the school, like a teacher's name. Experts say another option is to still take the picture, but send it to a small group of friends in a text message. In Washington, D.C., I'm Angela Brown.
All right, well, as we mentioned earlier, there's a lot going on this weekend. We got the last weekend of the fair. We're going to be there.
Yes.
The Ravens.
Yes.
Fleet Week.
It's good.
Yeah,
It's
a lot.
weekend.
Yeah,
Hopefully, the weather's
so
going to
much.
cooperate.
There's so much going on. I mean, it's cooperating right now. It's absolutely gorgeous outside. It's just been a nice day. Tomorrow still looks pretty good, but then things start to change as we head into Sunday. That's when we have our next weather maker moving in, and it will lead to the chance for a few showers. But if you are spending some time outside, it's great this evening. Tomorrow also looks pretty nice. 82 for the current temperature with sunny skies over Baltimore. Winds are out of the northeast around 5 miles per hour. And that heat index a little bit lower than the actual temperature, really not humid at all outside. We're seeing those numbers in the upper 70s and the low 80s, and across the state, plenty of sunshine. As we continue overnight, those numbers will fall to the 50s and the 60s, and a few of us will wake up to patchy fog. Then we're looking at a warm and mostly dry day tomorrow. Once we head into the night, there will be the chance for a few showers. Rain then continues as we head into Sunday, and even beyond that, we'll have an unsettled pattern with multiple chances of rain. First tonight, more clouds move in, and we'll wake up to partly to mostly cloudy skies in the morning. Temperatures start in the 50s and 60s. Then by the afternoon and evening, a few rain showers start to move into areas to our west. So Westminster, Frederick could be seeing some showers earlier in the evening. Overnight, there will be the better chance for scattered showers across much of the state. This continues off and on and into Sunday morning. Then that coverage starts to increase later in the morning and as we head into the afternoon. So you'll likely need the umbrellas at some point on Sunday, and then you will need them on Monday as we have a better chance for rain. Then we're talking a few spotty showers as we head into Tuesday before we finally dry out to finish the work week. We're keeping watch on Earl. That system is expected to weaken as it moves north. And then we're watching 3 areas in the Atlantic Basin. They all have a low chance of formation, so we're not expecting any impacts from those right now. 63 for the low temperature tonight with mostly clear skies and patchy fog. 82 for the high tomorrow. Then we're looking at slightly lower temperatures as the weekend continues. 78 on Sunday, 80s on Monday and Tuesday, and then those numbers rise and we dry out as we finish the week. Back to you.
City leaders say they went by the book in their response to the water crisis, but what do state leaders think? Governor Hogan tells us what he considers to be the most concerning part of the city's messaging. And a state fair first tonight for attendees with special needs, the chance they'll have to get up close to some of the animals.
The following program is sponsored by the Maryland State Fair.
Well, for the first time, the Maryland State Fair is hosting a goat show for special needs fair attendees, giving them a new opportunity to participate and learn about the animals. Olivia Dance spoke with the event's organizers this morning.
Well, the gates are officially open for the last weekend of the State Fair, and right now we are with all of the goats. I'm joined by Chris Johnson and Donna Myers. Thank you so much for speaking with us, guys. Right now we have something going on behind us. Do you mind telling us a little bit about this event behind us?
It's the Open Dairy Goat Show, so it's people of any ages, many from Maryland, some from adjoining states that are showing goats today.
Very cool, and all the goats are so cute. Tonight is going to be a special night. There is something new going on, and it's going to be special. So tell me about what this is going to be all about tonight.
So for the first time in probably about 6 years, we have a special needs exhibition, a championship drive, we're calling it. And so we are having some special needs adults and children come in and partner with our 4-H'ers that are exhibiting goats, and they're going to have a show in the Cow Palace. They're going to work with the 4-H'ers for about an hour beforehand, get used to handling goats, learn them, become comfortable with them, and just give the opportunity for somebody maybe not involved with 4-H to have to be able to show an animal.
Well, that is amazing. How did this special event come about?
We had a situation last year at Fair where we had a traditional 4-H member who was sighted and lost her eyesight, and she had her animals, and the other 4-H'ers stepped forward and helped her exhibit them. And then Donna went to a conference and
the International Association of Fairs in San Antonio last fall, and Kansas Fair had this exhibition that they had used. They had they sent me the information that they used. We went off of that, got sponsors. Cargill stepped up right away. Fair Publishing said, I want to help you with this. And so they're providing T-shirts. We have medallions that say Star Performer on them. So we're really excited to give these kids. And our 4-H'ers are so excited to be able to step up and give back. And we have more 4-H'ers volunteering than we have participants for. So it just goes to show you how our 4-H'ers want to reach out also and help other children.
That's a truly incredible story, and you guys made it happen. Can we expect this to become a new tradition? Will this be at the fair next year as well?
We hope this to be the first annual. The support from the 4-H members is overwhelming. I have twice as many members wanting to help than we really need. But 4-H is sometimes misconstrued. It's not just about having a cow and cooking. It's a youth development program. And the opportunities and the skills that are provided for the youth are to make them competent, caring, contributing citizens. And they are, the 4-H's are head, heart, hands, and health. And this is the heart and the hands, and they are stepping forward to help give opportunities to other special needs youth and adults.
Well, very well said. I appreciate you both speaking with us. It sounds like tonight is going to be an incredible night. The event starts at 7. It's over at the Cow Palace, so I hope a lot of people come out. And remember, this is the last weekend for the Maryland State Fair, so be sure to check it out. But for now, reporting in Timonium, I'm Olivia Dance, Fox 45 News.
Love that. What a great event. 7 o'clock tonight. It is the final weekend, as Olivia mentioned, for the fair. You can meet your favorite Fox 45 news anchors, reporters, and meteorologists on the last day of the fair. That's this Sunday. Make sure you stop by and say hi from 1 to 5, I believe. Well, they fought for our country after September 11th. Now they need our help. How one group is traveling the country to support veterans. And $500 million to Baltimore businesses, but did they deserve it? Why some say federal COVID loan forgiveness was abused by some companies. And the city says the water crisis, it's over, but we're pressing city and state leaders on whether the E. coli contamination was properly handled.
We have found no further evidence of contamination and can assure our residents that water is now safe to use throughout the small advisory area and the initial impact zone.
Baltimore has lifted its boil water advisory.
The mayor and leaders from DPW saying they are confident now that all water throughout the city is safe to drink. However, they're still not sure what caused the E. coli contamination to begin with. Water distribution is ending. Harlem Park Middle School is the only distribution site still open. It will shut down permanently at noon tomorrow.
While the city continues to investigate where the E. coli contamination came from, there are questions about when DPW and the state started working to notify the public. Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost questioned the governor today and joins us live. Mackenzie?
Yeah, Kai, so the Maryland Department of Environment, or MDE, is tasked with oversight and implementation of the Federal Safe Drinking Water Act. That is the federal law that requires water systems and public systems to notify the public within 24 hours after they get confirmation that the water has been contaminated. Now, the city says that it started working with MDE and they were the ones who gave them the green light to start notifying people, but there are questions about the timeline of that specifically. Earlier today, I asked Governor Larry Hogan about what he knows about this timeline and if anything is concerning to him. Take a listen. What do you know about the timeline of this, and is it concerning to you?
Well, it's concerning to me that there seems to have been just kind of a lack of transparency, and you know, some of the information coming out of the city was delayed. But behind the scenes, there wasn't any confusion at all, and all of our agencies at the state level have been working since day one to try to help the city with the problem there, and it seems like they're making progress.
Do you know if MDE directed the city to take action Sunday?
I don't know.
So the governor says that the state did not hesitate in springing into action working with the city. I did ask MDE if they're investigating any sort of delays or possible violations of that federal law and the notification of it. However, MDE says that they're focused on making sure that the contamination remains under control and that people have safe drinking water. This issue, the city says that the water is safe to drink, but I'm sure it will come up during the hearing, the investigative hearing that is scheduled for next Thursday, held here at City Hall by some concerned members of the City Council. Live outside City Hall, Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
Mackenzie, thank you. Now, even though that boil water advisory has been lifted, the city says you still need to take steps to make sure your water is safe. Before you drink any water, make sure to run your tap water on cold for at least 15 minutes. And start with the taps on the lowest levels of your home, then work your way up to the highest floors, then turn them off in the reverse order. Now, you should also clean your refrigerator's ice maker. For more information on how to properly clear your home, go to our website, foxbaltimore.com.
And while city leaders say they followed state guidance to a T, some residents are upset with their response. DPW's budget is more than $600 million. However, we have seen several failures and mistakes come from that department over the years. In March of this year, state environmental officials came in and took control of the city's owned Back River wastewater treatment plant that's in Dundalk. Residents complained about solids floating in Back River. State investigators also say they've received reports of staff sleeping, sitting around and watching TV while on the job. Plus, Fox 45 News has heard from several residents over the past several years with water bills in the thousands with no clear reason why. The city has said some of these residents have past due bills, but the majority of residents we've spoken with point to broken pipes.
New tonight, millions of dollars in loan forgiveness from the Paycheck Protection Program went to Baltimore businesses. But a closer look at what organizations received that money shows some of them may not have been the type of businesses that the government intended on helping. Tom Rogers has details.
Loan forgiveness for the Paycheck Protection Program with small businesses totals more than $500 million for Baltimore companies alone. Now, the list of forgiven loans totaling up to $8 or $9 million each includes law offices, crane companies, even a $7.3 million relief for a debt relief company. CEO of OpenBooks.com, Adam Andrzejewski, says he doesn't think Congress passed the massive spending bill with the intent to be used for very successful businesses.
Top 200 law firms in the country. Now, Tom, we can argue about whether or not this was proper or not and whether they followed the rules, which they probably did. But here's what we can't argue about. All of this was backed by taxpayers, and it's every dime of it added to the national debt.
And Jaski pointing out the YMCA of Maryland also had a $6.7 million loans forgiven, but the nonprofit already announcing it plans to pay them back to the government. Tom Rogers, Fox 45 News.
All right, time to get a check of our weather as we head into the final weekend of the Maryland State Fair and some other activities happening.
Yeah, it's looking okay, but we'll let Jasmine give you the weather.
Yeah, it certainly looks great this evening. So if you're planning on spending some time outside, you've got low humidity, warm temperatures, nice and clear conditions, but then things will change a little bit later this weekend. Currently, we sit at 82 over Towson with sunny skies and winds out of the northeast around 5 miles per hour. Across the state, we're seeing temperatures in the 70s and the 80s. Westminster actually the hot spot at 86 right now, but the rest of us in the low 80s, and we'll see those numbers fall overnight. Then tomorrow, we're back to the low 80s with more clouds moving in, but we stay mostly dry. On Sunday and Monday, we do have our next chance for a few showers, and that could impact your plans. I'll break down the timing of the rain coming up in my Weather Authority forecast. Back to you.
Jasmine, thank you. A city in crisis as Baltimore police investigate multiple shootings across the city today. The first took place just after midnight. A 21-year-old victim was able to take himself to a nearby hospital for treatment. Police say he was shot on Boston Street near O'Donnell Street.
And about an hour later, a 44-year-old man who had been shot multiple times was admitted to a local hospital. Police say the victim was sitting in his car on Fairlawn Avenue when two suspects approached him, tried to rob him, then shot him. If you have information on either of these incidents, you should call Baltimore police.
An arrest is made in an attempted murder from late last month. On August 30th, a 32-year-old man was shot on Gwen Oak Avenue. He was taken to a hospital and survived his injuries. Wednesday, police arrested 28-year-old Jordan Mosby. He's charged with first-degree attempted murder.
Baltimore is seeing significantly more violent crime this year than last. So far this year, there have been 244 homicides and over 516 people have been shot and survived. That's compared to just 231 killings last year and 465 non-fatal shootings. In less than 7 hours, a curfew starts in Prince George's County for kids 16 and under. The county will begin enforcing the curfew at midnight in response to an increase in violent crimes among young people, many of them repeat offenders. Brad Bell with our Sinclair sister station in D.C. has the latest on how they plan to enforce this. Brad.
Yeah, there's an awful lot going on down here. The big problem has been an epidemic of carjacking. The number of carjackings more than quadrupling from what it was 3 years ago, many of those committed by juveniles. So we're seeing a number of things. We're seeing this curfew tonight. We're seeing a push for accountability for young people, and we've seen a shakeup in the courthouse.
The woman we're calling Jane to protect her identity will never forget the moment 3 young teens pointed a gun at her and took her car.
It was like unbelievable. It's like, how is this happening?
It got worse. The carjackers crashed and totaled her car. Police did arrest the 13, 14, and 15-year-old carjackers, but Jane found out the judge assigned to juvenile cases sent them home with no additional detention, reform program, or restitution order. That was last January. Now sources tell 7 News a month ago 2 of the teens who did Jane's carjacking were among 4 juveniles arrested following an armed carjacking and police pursuit, which ended with this crash involving a bus. Jane, not surprised.
They can continue to do it because they're getting away with it. How is that possible?
Her story and others like it now prompting a shakeup in the Prince George's County Courthouse. 7 News obtaining this order from the chief judge, removing Judge Peter Kelo from the juvenile docket, replacing him with Judge Michael Pearson. County Executive Angela Alsobrooks among the county leaders who had expressed concerns Kelo had been too lenient on kids, giving them probation and home detention, even those doing violent gun crimes, including murder. Jane still troubled by how her case was handled.
If you are a child and you got a gun, you need to do adult time. I don't care if you're 13, 14, or whatever. You have a weapon, then you need to go to jail.
So multiple sources are telling us that this week in juvenile court, a 12-year-old charged with a fatal stabbing, a murder, was actually sent home pre-trial, sent home on electric monitoring. That caused an uproar, which led to this change. The new judge will start hearing cases Monday. As for this curfew, midnight tonight, 10 p.m. on weekdays. The word from the county is, and the police, is that they're going to just tell kids that there is a curfew and that they ought to go home for a first offense. We don't expect to see a ton of enforcement. The focus now, at least for this week, we're told, is going to be on education. In Upper Marlboro, Brad Bell, Fox 45 News.
Brad, thank you. Baltimore does have a curfew for young people, but the city does not enforce it. The commissioner saying they're not sure how to enforce that law.
We have continuing coverage on the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. This afternoon, King Charles addressed Britain and the world for the first time as king.
Queen Elizabeth was a life well lived, a promise with destiny kept, and she is mourned most deeply in her passing. That promise of lifelong service I renew to you all today.
The king promised to protect his mother's legacy and to follow in her footsteps, ruling with, quote, loyalty and love. Charles's official coronation won't take place for several months as the country mourns the Queen's passing. The Queen's funeral is expected to be held in Westminster Abbey in less than 2 weeks. Now, UK businesses and government agencies are pausing operations to mourn the Queen. The Bank of England has postponed an important monetary policy meeting by 1 week, and there will be no English Premier Soccer League this weekend. The league has postponed all games as a mark of respect for the Queen. King Charles asks that that period of mourning lasts for a week after Queen Elizabeth's funeral. As Charles III becomes king, there are questions about the future of the monarchy. Last year, 60% of Brits said they favored keeping the monarchy in place, according to an Ipsos poll. That's down from 76% in 2016 and marks the lowest level of support since the 90s. Charles' succession has also renewed calls from politicians and activists for former colonies in the Caribbean to abolish the monarchy and pay reparations.
As employers struggle to find top-notch workers, there's a little-known program that helps to do just that. I'm Christine Frizzell with a look at why those who've taken part in the unconventional program say it's working.
In our top stories, the Tennessee man accused of killing 4 people and wounding 3 others is in court. Police say 19-year-old Ezekiel Kelly live-streamed himself on a shooting spree earlier this week. Kelly says he can't afford a lawyer, so he's been granted a public defender. He'll remain jailed on a first-degree murder charge. That attack shut down the city of Memphis Wednesday, with the baseball stadium, universities, and public bus services all locking down. President Biden is pushing to eliminate Section 230. That's a law protecting internet companies from liability for what's posted on their platforms. If the law is removed, it could significantly impact social media companies and other online forums where misinformation is spread. It's up to Congress, however, not the president, to get rid of the shield. Republicans and Democrats have both voiced support for revoking it. Well, so many Americans fought for the country in combat operations following 9/11. Well, now Project Relo is trying to help those veterans be successful after their service. National correspondent Christine Frizzell has more.
It's a battlefield unlike any other, with tasks to complete and debriefings to follow.
Well played, guys. Good job, guys.
But those taking part in this mission are not soldiers or Marines. They're business leaders from the corporate world, assisted by active duty military and veterans as part of a program to show the value of hiring them.
We said, look, let's look at this differently. Let's not look as if the veterans just need help from the companies. Let's make it very clear that the companies need what the veterans have to offer. I think we have enough equipment.
Christian Anschutz and his wife Michelle started Project Relo, over the years attended by more than 200 corporate leaders, including Shelley Nelson.
It's not because they're getting rewarded for being veterans. What is it for?
It's a business decision because I don't know any companies that are going to be able to train the leaders like veterans and military leaders have been trained.
Those military leaders include former Green Beret Eric Ward, who she met on her mission and eventually hired.
One of the best hires we've ever made.
While in the military, Ward invented what's known as the Phantom Litter to carry wounded soldiers to safety.
It's just a sheet of material that has 8 handles on it, but prior to the version that I came up with, they were still made out of canvas. So it was still large, it was still 15, 20 pounds, and not something people wanted to carry.
It is now integrated into service members' uniforms. At his new job, he's just invented another life-saving tool.
It's an air purification system that's going inside of fire trucks and ambulances to help clean the air.
Their success story is one among many, born out of a labor of love.
I am a Marine Corps veteran and I'm also a Gold Star family member. So my brother was a lieutenant in the Army.
For his brother and the thousands of others who never made it home, he says Project Relo has already created a new and better path for those who did. I'm Christine Frizzell reporting.
Time to take a look at our Friday weather as we head into the weekend, Jasmine, right?
Oh, it's so nice today. This is the day when you just want to be outside.
Yes, outside.
It's warm,
up the sun.
It's sunny, we've got lots of sunshine and low humidity. That makes a huge difference, but we are in for a little bit of a change. Okay. So for anyone that is able to spend some time outside this evening, take advantage of it. We've got sunny skies right now over Baltimore, and temperatures currently sitting at 82 degrees. It feels like it's 81, and that's just because our humidity is so low. Winds are out of the northeast around 5 miles per hour. And across the state, we're seeing those temperatures in the upper 70s and the low 80s, but plenty of sunshine around the state. Westminster, our high spot in the 80s, mid 80s. Then we've got Oakland only in the 60s, but still mostly dry across the state. Overnight, our temperatures will fall to the 50s and the 60s. You may need a light jacket, especially toward western Maryland when we start with those temperatures in the 50s. But then we quickly warm up to the 80s as we head into the afternoon. Clouds will gradually start to move in. Then as we head into Sunday, we're looking at temperatures in the 60s and the 70s by the afternoon. So those numbers will be a little bit lower. We'll also have mostly cloudy skies to start the morning. And then as we head into the afternoon and evening, there could be a few stray showers. Rain chances will be highest to our west. But as we head into the night, there will be scattered showers across the state. These continue off and on overnight and then into Sunday morning. So you could be waking up to a few areas of rain. That will continue even as we head into the late morning. And then moving into Monday, we've got an even better chance for rain. Then on Tuesday, we're looking at spotty showers before staying mostly dry as we finish out the work week. We're keeping watch on the Atlantic Basin. This is Earl, and it is expected to weaken as it continues to move north. Then we're keeping watch on 3 other areas. They all have a low chance of formation, but we're getting close to the peak of hurricane season, which is actually tomorrow. 63 for the low temperature tonight with mostly clear skies and patchy fog. Then highs around 82 tomorrow with those clouds gradually increasing as we head into the afternoon. Once we head into Sunday, 78 for the high with our next chance for scattered showers. 82 on Monday and rainy conditions. Our showers become a little more spotty on Tuesday. Temperatures still around 82. Then we're looking at rising numbers to the mid-80s as we finish out the week. Expect plenty of sunshine. Back to you.
Jasmine, thank you. Coming up on Fox 45 News at 6 o'clock tonight, all systems go in terms of Baltimore's water supply, but questions remain about city leaders' response to the contamination. Contract talks between Lamar Jackson and the Ravens have come to a halt. Jackson will play out his rookie deal. How a similar situation worked out for the team in the past.
Many members of Flock Nation went to sleep last night hoping to wake up to a notification that the Ravens extended Lamar. But a statement put out by the team left fans wondering what happens next with their starting QB. Well, nothing yet. Lamar will play Week 1 against the Jets on the 5th-year option of his rookie deal. Eric DeCosta, the team GM, put out a statement saying, quote, "We greatly appreciate how he has handled this process, and we are excited about our team with Lamar leading the way. We will continue to work towards a long-term contract after the season, but for now, we are looking forward to a successful 2022 campaign." Here's John Harbaugh on the whole thing.
Those things will work themselves out in the end. I'm confident that. I think I said at the beginning that'll happen when it's time, and when it's time, it'll happen. So Lamar's playing quarterback. He's going to be playing quarterback here for a long time. He and I talked about it yesterday a little bit, like, hey, man, let's go be our best. And and go focus on football. And that's what he's been doing all along. So I know nothing will change with that, and just focused on Sunday.
So this isn't the first time the Ravens let their star quarterback play out his rookie deal. Let's go back to 2012. Same thing happened with Joe Flacco. Remember how that one worked out? The season ended like that with the Ravens and Flacco hosting the Lombardi Trophy. And Flacco eventually got the bag. Flock Nation hoping that's the case with Lamar and this year's squad as well. The Ravens released their injury report ahead of Sunday's season opener. J.K. Dobbins and Marcus Peters are both questionable. Ronnie Stanley doubtful. And Travis Jones, he'll be out. Following the season, the Ravens can either franchise tag Lamar or sign him long term. We'll just have to wait and see. Coming up tonight, what a Jets rookie said about Calais Campbell that's causing a stir when Sports Unlimited returns.
All right, Rocco, thank you. Coming up on Fox 45 News at 6 o'clock, illegal dumping has plagued Baltimore for years. But Charm City's problems aren't unique. How another major city is handling that problem. 5 people are dead inside a Cecil County home. Police provide an update on the investigation.
Tonight at 6, updating breaking news out of Cecil County. The evidence investigators are revealing after a family of 5 was found dead in a home. And a parade of red, white, and blue lining the road to Chesapeake High School, a protest after the patriotic theme for tonight's football game was changed at the last minute. Hear why. And illegal dumping filling up neighborhoods with garbage, but this isn't Baltimore. Find out how one Texas city is cracking down, a strategy that some say could work here.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 6.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Maxine Stryker. The Fox 45 News at 6 o'clock starts right now with the exclusive Fox Track, your Baltimore Minute.
Another day and more West Baltimoreans picking up water after E. coli contamination in their water. This process running smoothly, but getting information about the contaminated water to the public was not. And for the Department of Public Works, an agency with a $600 million budget, this issue, just the latest black eye.
The water boil advisory is over for all of West Baltimore. The city says it still doesn't know how and where the water supply became contaminated with E. coli.
So our focus now within the Department of Public Works is look at root cause.
DPW Director Jason Mitchell says the agency is looking at construction projects, water main breaks, and valve repairs in this part of West Baltimore.
2 adult bodies and 3 children were found scattered throughout this Elk Hills home at around 9:30 this morning. One body was located in the garage, the others in various locations on the 1st and 2nd floor. The children were allegedly homeschooled, currently in 5th, 7th, and 8th grade. Each of the victims appeared to have been gunned down with a semi-automatic handgun. That handgun was found beside the father when police arrived.
Well, tonight, a shocking discovery inside a Cecil County home. A family of 5 all shot dead. The sheriff's office just providing an update this afternoon. Rebecca Pryor has more on what happened.
Yeah, police are holding off on revealing all of the details until they're able to notify the relatives of these family members, but they are confirming right now that the bodies of 2 adults and 3 children were found scattered throughout this Elk Hills home at around 9:30 this morning. One body was located in the garage, the others in various locations on the 1st and 2nd floor. The children were allegedly homeschooled, currently in 5th, 7th, and 8th grade. Each of the victims appear to have been gunned down with a semi-automatic handgun that was found beside the father when police arrived. Police also believe the father is the one who made that 911 call, reporting his wife and 3 children shot and killed. Dispatchers describing that call as short and showing no signs of distress. At this point, Cecil County Sheriff Scott Adams saying the only threat left to the public is heartbreak.
There's not a public safety concern as far as it going outside of this, so the community is, there is none of that concern. It's grief is what it is at this point. Anytime you have a loss to these levels, any loss is terrible, but a loss to this level, which is not a common thing, and certainly not a common thing here in Cecil County, it's tragic and terrible, and it takes a long time for people to process.
And as you can see by the yellow tape and heavy police presence, this is still a very active and ongoing investigation. No other incidents have been reported from this house in the past, and for now, a motive remains a mystery. Again, police say more information, more details will become available after the relatives of this family have been notified. Reporting in Cecil County, Rebecca Pryor, Fox 45 News.
Well, you can be the first to know about breaking news like this by signing up for News on the Go. Just go to foxbaltimore.com, click on Mobile Alert Sign Up under the Station tab. You can also download the Fox 45 app for your smartphone. Just search for WBFF in your app store. Well, now to the crisis in the classroom. A Baltimore mother suing city schools and her son's teacher, claiming that her 9-year-old boy who has special needs was assaulted. It was reportedly caught on surveillance video at Pimlico Elementary in July 2019. This tape here shows children walking out of a classroom, the teacher grabbing a child from the doorway, pulling him into the hall. The family's attorney going public now, saying after the city filed a motion to dismiss the case, officials must be held accountable.
Words in and of themselves cannot describe what my client experienced on that day. He was 9 years old at the time and is an autistic student. We all know the issues of safety when it comes to public schools, and now our children have to be worried about whether or not they're safe from their own teachers.
Well, because there's pending litigation, there is no comment from school officials tonight. Today's news follows civil rights attorney Ben Crump joining a legal team already suing city schools over a different issue highlighted by Fox 45 News Project Baltimore, arguing that schools are not providing an adequate education while taking taxpayer dollars.
Now, a Fox 45 News alert in 3, 2, 1.
The boil water advisory in Baltimore has been fully lifted, though the source of the E. coli contamination has not yet been identified by city officials. The latest tests have come back negative. Now, if you just got home, that does not mean the water is immediately safe. Officials say you do need to run your tap on cold for at least 15 minutes to make sure you clear out the pipes. You should start on the lowest level of your home and then work your way up top. And if you have a refrigerator and it has a water line and ice maker, officials say don't forget to clean those out as well. Get rid of that ice and also clean out the water line. Meantime, for more information on how to make sure your tap is safe to use in your house, go to our website, foxbaltimore.com. Maxine?
But first, while the mayor says the water is safe to drink, that doesn't mean all the questions are answered. Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost is pressing the mayor about the apparent communication breakdown.
There are still a lot of questions about when DPW first learned about this contamination and then told the public about it. Mayor Brandon Scott is defending the city's response, saying it followed all of the guidelines and protocols. But now we're seeing Councilman Eric Costello and a few other members of the city council demand an investigative hearing is held next Thursday to try and get to the bottom of what happened. Another day and more West Baltimoreans picking up water after E. coli contamination in their water. This process running smoothly, but getting information about the contaminated water to the public was not. And for the Department of Public Works, an agency with the $600 million budget, this issue, just the latest black eye. We pressed Mayor Brandon Scott about what happened.
But it seems to be that it's a department plagued with problems, perhaps mismanaged. And I know that a lot of people we've talked to say that they want to see some sort of accountability when it comes to how this, especially this situation, was handled. Communication seemed to be bungled. How do you plan to make sure that the community sees that someone is held accountable for this?
So again, Mackenzie, there was no misbundling of communication. You weren't here the other day, but we laid that out, that we follow the protocol of how you communicate and how you have to, MD has to say to DPW, yes, you can say this at this time. That was followed. We're going to follow every rule and every regulation. And when you're talking about an issue like this, again, this wasn't something that DPW mismanaged. They found out the water had this in it because they did the testing. This wasn't someone else telling us.
So you're satisfied with how the situation was handled top to bottom from everyone involved?
So I haven't even had a chance to breathe yet, Mackenzie. You should ask me that question in about 2 or 3 days as I go back and do analysis myself.
The mayor's confidence not felt by everyone in City Hall.
Yeah, it's beyond unacceptable.
Councilman Eric Costello says he, along with 4 other members, will hold an investigative hearing next week to get some answers from the people at the top.
To get into, the entire timeline around this event, what went wrong, what went right, and how we're going to ensure that the things that went wrong aren't going to happen again. There's no scenario in which any of that is okay, or in which DPW is tweeting at, 7 in the morning on Labor Day and is not putting out, follow-up communication until 9.5 hours later.
Especially when there are questions about how fast DPW started telling people after getting the green light from the state.
Did they give you the okay on Sunday, though?
They gave us an okay Sunday night, and we immediately began through midnight. Our team worked throughout that entire evening and that morning to create a message.
So it's safe to say that MDE told you guys to take action Sunday night, and then we didn't get the message until Monday?
No, again, they work with MDE through the Sunday night and through the night about what was going to happen. And when it was going to happen, how it was going to happen. Again, nothing that DPW has done has been out of step with MDE.
I understand the need to follow all, regulatory standards, whether that's from the state, the federal government, whether it's following local, state, or federal law. But again, there is not an excuse for that lack of communication, that gap in 9 hours on Labor Day, not finding out about it until Monday morning when we had test results on Saturday, and then we had confirmed test results, again, to ensure it wasn't a false positive on Sunday. That's not okay. That gap should not exist.
DPW Director Jason Mitchell, one of the highest paid people in Baltimore government, earning $245,000 on the job for just over a year. Mitchell leading the department riddled with concerns, from trash and recycling pickup problems, embattled wastewater treatment plant that's now utilizing state oversight because of the issues, to soaring water bills. And now people in Baltimore coming out of another crisis, left wondering what could be next. Councilman Costello says the official resolution will be introduced Monday during the city council hearing, but that investigative hearing is scheduled for Thursday at 2 o'clock. Outside City Hall, Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
This brings us to our question of the day. Do you think Mayor Brandon Scott holds city agencies accountable? So far, 95% of you who voted say no. Go to foxbaltimore.com/vote to weigh in, and we'll keep that poll open. Here's the results from yesterday's informal viewer poll when we asked, do you have confidence in the Scott administration to handle a crisis like the water crisis? Almost everyone said no. 99% of those who voted, something he took issue with. when Mackenzie Frost asked him about it today.
The majority of our viewers have said that they don't believe that you are equipped to handle a crisis like this. How do you respond to that criticism?
I don't respond to unscientific polls, period.
What if they're your constituents?
Can you tell me who they are? They're unscientific polls. What I say is I've handled many crises, and I handle them with dignity and respect. I don't get shaken. I don't get stirred. I'm sturdy. Growing up in Baltimore, living what I had to live through, having guns pointed at my face, have prepared me from crises that people who do not live in this city and may be clicking a button over and over again on your voting poll do not and will not ever understand.
Here's a look at today's top trending stories now. Number one, Mervo High School's football team back in action with heavy hearts, taking the field at City College a week after Jeremiah Brogdon was gunned down outside the school. Coming up ahead in Sports Unlimited, more from the game, including the highlights. Number two, Chesapeake High School scraps its red, white, and blue theme for its football game. Families are protesting. It was a line of parents and students in Pasadena before school, with fans going tonight expected to wear the colors. But the decision to change the theme was made after an incident last night during Unity Week last year. Our Jeff Abel is on the story, and we'll have a full report on Fox 45 News at 10. Number three, a curfew is going to be in effect in one of Maryland's biggest counties, also hit hard by youth crime. Prince George's County leaders say they will enforce curfews for juveniles. Tonight, police will start with a gentle approach, providing reminders. Second violations mean having to wait with police until parents come.
Social media increasingly playing a role in mass shootings. The most recent shooter in Memphis live streaming the attack on Facebook. I'm Kayla Gaskins in Washington.
And it's been a warm and sunny day and still very nice outside, but we have more clouds and even rain returning this weekend. I'll break down the timing of the rain and what to expect for the weekend coming up in my full forecast.
Prince Charles ascends to the British throne, how he hopes to follow in his mother's lasting footsteps.
Now, a Fox 45 News Alert in 3, 2, 1.
Today, Britain's King Charles III addressed the nation for the first time since Queen Elizabeth II died. Upon his arrival at Buckingham Palace, the King and Queen Consort greeted well-wishers and looked at the growing memorial of flowers and cards left by citizens. Then he made this promise.
As the Queen herself did with such unswerving devotion, I too now solemnly pledge myself, throughout the remaining time God grants me, to uphold the constitutional principles at the heart of our nation.
Funeral services for Queen Elizabeth are expected at the end of a 10-day period of mourning. Maxine?
A 19-year-old man is in custody after a shooting rampage left 4 people dead in Memphis, Tennessee earlier this week. Much of that violent outburst was streamed live as it happened on social media. The National Desk's Kayla Gaskins with the pushback on social media companies that are criticized for acting slow in situations like this.
Memphis police saying at a press conference 19-year-old suspect Ezekiel Kelly went live on Facebook not once, but twice during Wednesday's deadly chaos. Kelly remains behind bars for Wednesday's mass shooting in Memphis. He allegedly opened fire in multiple locations after starting just after midnight, proceeding to bring terror and death until police found and arrested him just before 9 p.m. Around 6 o'clock Wednesday evening, Memphis police saying Kelly filmed a Facebook Live as he opened fire in a store. Shortly after, police received another alert. Kelly was back on Facebook Live, this time threatening to harm more citizens. A spokesperson for Facebook's parent company Meta telling Fox Business, quote, "We are working closely with law enforcement on this matter. We were in direct touch with the Memphis Police Department shortly after they issued their initial public alert about this incident. And we identified and removed the live content prior to the Memphis Police Department's initial public alert." Social media increasingly playing a role in mass shootings. Earlier this year, the shooter in Buffalo live streamed his massacre at a grocery store on Amazon's Twitch.
I mean, it's obviously an attempt to get some sort of perverse form of glory, and I think that social media has played a big role in this, and I don't think it's too much to say to these companies that you need to do more to take down violent content.
Another issue raised from this shooting, the impact of soft-on-crime policies. Kelly should have been behind bars, serving out a 3-year sentence for attempted murder, but he was released in March after serving only 11 months. I'm Kayla Gaskins reporting.
It's the first Purple Friday of the season, and we want to see your purple pride, even your pets and, of course, your babies. Go to foxbaltimore.com and tap Chime In at the top to upload your pictures. We will share them leading up to and after the Ravens opener.
And it's a very nice Purple Friday. We've got sunny skies over the harbor and over Towson, nice and dry weather. And then as we look on the HD radar, not seeing much right now, but we have a weather maker coming this weekend, and that could change things, bringing more rain to the region. Currently, we sit at 81 with plenty of sunshine. Winds are out of the east-southeast around 6 miles per hour. And overall, a very nice evening around the state with temperatures in the 70s and the 80s. Westminster still one of our warm spots at 84. And then Oakland only in the 60s at this time, but sunny skies across the state. Overnight will stay mostly clear, although some areas will be in for patchy fog in the morning. Temperatures fall to the 50s and the 60s. Then as we head into the afternoon, temperatures reach the upper 70s, low 80s. Will stay pretty close to average, and it looks like a great day if you're heading to the State Fair. We'll have more clouds move in as we head into the evening, and possibly by the night, a few stray showers. Just to time things out, more clouds move in overnight and into the morning. We start dry with temperatures in the 50s and 60s. Then notice as we head into the evening, there will be the chance for a few stray showers, mainly to our west, but that rain spreads across the rest of the state as we head into the night with off and on showers into Sunday morning. You could be waking up to a little bit of light rain, but then that coverage increases. There could even be moments of heavy rain as we head into Sunday afternoon. So make sure that you're keeping watch on the radar if you have any plans to be outside. Then heading into Monday, we have an even better chance for rain, followed by spotty showers on Tuesday. Then the rest of the week will be mostly dry. We're also keeping watch on Earl. That system is expected to remain over the open Atlantic and weaken. Coming up, I'll have a look at what you can expect here, how the rest of the weekend shapes up, and my full 10-day forecast.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Western wildfire smoke has made it into the Midwest, and that led to this ominous sunset shown here yesterday in Wisconsin. But a crystal clear, peaceful-looking moonset was photographed in Alabama this morning. Don't forget, Saturday is the full moon, and this year it's the harvest moon. And it's not too early for snow in Montana, even if this scene is from above 6,000 feet in Glacier National Park.
For more content like this, like the National Weather Desk on Facebook.
Well, illegal dumping has been a problem plaguing Baltimore for many years. Other cities are taking a much tougher approach to it. In tonight's Assignment America, Matt Roy from our Sinclair sister station in San Antonio shows us the crackdown.
Bexar County Environmental Services really cracking down the last few months on illegal dumping, where people will take things, big items like this, put them where they're not supposed to, costing taxpayers like you thousands of dollars.
It's still disgusting, you know. I sit over here and it kind of depresses me.
Carlos Dalla has owned property in the Camelot subdivision on the northeast side since 2009. He says the illegal dumping brings stench, bugs, and
rats used to be a lot.
Really?
I got crazy when I just first moved. It looked like a little New York here.
We're seeing substantial dumping.
Bexar County environmental crimes investigator Billy Dories says illegal dumping is becoming more and more of an issue throughout the county. And every time they're called out to remove big piles of trash like this one, it costs tens of thousands of dollars.
We haven't really had a chance to study it, so to speak, to be able to find out exactly why the folks are doing what they're doing. Right now, we're just trying to contain it.
Dory says they're placing cameras like this one around the neighborhoods and hidden cameras in hotspots to catch people in the act, like this.
We also actually ask that citizens that see other people dumping call us.
The arrests of these two people made Wednesday are thanks to photos sent in by residents. Rhonda Dutton's facing a misdemeanor and up to 180 days in jail. Larry Williams is facing a felony charge and up to 2 years. Property owners like Dalla just want to see the problem solved.
We waiting. I think we lose the hope of it.
If there's dumping in your neighborhood, send us pictures via Chime In. Just go to foxbaltimore.com and tap Chime In at the top to upload.
It has been a gorgeous start to the weekend, and tomorrow looks pretty nice. Temperatures reach the upper 70s and low 80s with lots of sunshine until we get to the afternoon. More clouds move in. Then overnight into Sunday, there is the chance for scattered showers with more rain on Monday and Tuesday. After that, we stay mostly dry and sunny. Back to you.
Well, it's finally Friday, and you've made it to the weekend, and this one is the final weekend of the Maryland State Fair. Check out this cute video. Our Mackenzie Frost posted it to Twitter earlier. Those little piglets born this morning at the fairgrounds. They're so cute. We hope to see you at the fair this weekend. Many of us will be there on Sunday. That's all for Fox 45 News at 6. Family Feud is next. We'll see you again tonight at 10. Have a great night.